All right, let's go ahead and get into it. What is good, everybody? How are we feeling today? It's your man, King Ham, back at it again. The hip hop enthusiast, the ace up your sleeve. Just be sure to hit that like and subscribe because you already know support is free. Bars. I know, I'm sorry, I'll be here all day, man. You know, tips and donations can be left at the Cash App right here, right there, right there. Anyway. So I wanted to go over this the other day, but I didn't really have the time. I really wanted to, but I just want to let y'all know something that Drake can rap. That's cool, but Drake does not belong in hip hop. He does not belong in any talks of hip hop. He doesn't belong in the barbershop. He doesn't belong anywhere near understanding the principles, the values, the morals, the virtues of what hip hop stands for. Personally, that's just me. This is just my opinion. You can go ahead and disagree with it if you want in the comment section, but honestly, I really don't care. Um, I'll argue down a OV hole any day. Like I said, we're going to talk about why. Fantastic Hip Hop here has a very good video about it. Personally, I love Fantastic Hip Hop. He usually does a great job in citing the facts, citing the material and everything, just making sure that you get a good synopsis of the message that being sent. So keep this ace up your sleeve. Make sure you go to Fantastic Hip Hop. Show them that support is free. So let's go ahead and get into it. I just want to go ahead and go over a few points with y'all and really tell y'all why I feel the way I do.
Listen, before we get into this one, as the Drake stands are getting mad. Listen, they don't want me to say it, but you know I'm gonna say it. But what I need you to do is leave a like
That's all
before we go
saying,
any
man.
further. Really leave that like. And then now get ready, lock in, and say it with me. Now, when it comes to Drake, listen, if you are ready.
This man always stresses it. When it comes to Drake, especially after that lawsuit, boy, don't you ever come back around here.
To see how Drake decided to make his birthday celebration about victimhood and spite, and with that, well, just in terms of really everything, it's never looks like Drake has been.
Also, you see that? You see how this right here is taken care of? Guess what? I'm going to do it again because that's what I need you to do. Hit this naughty bell as well. I mean, for me and for Fantastic Hip Hop, but that's besides the point. We're going to go back into it, but I'm just showing y'all how easy it is.
Despised and just disliked more. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe because really, as Drake tried to come out on his birthday and pretty much just have some sort of a weird spite party, and after we saw how everything went, and after we saw how Drake tried to get a moment at the World Series, as Drake just tried to pop out in Toronto and look all cool for the World Series amongst many other birthday crash outs. And well, with this, he just got shown that he is less and less relevant with every single thing that happened in the city from the.
What is this from? I keep on seeing this crazy animation of this. What is this? Did a fan make this? Is this like a music video? If this is a music video, this is not okay. Oh, that's what I was
And they did the opposite, which we'll get into that. And then also throughout the entire just first game of the World Series, beyond the whole Kendrick Lamar and Drake thing people have been pushing there, well, pretty much Drake's home city selected multiple of his biggest rivals to support them and represent them, while Drake just looked like a weird loser in the stands. Well, be sure to leave a like and subscribe because we are going to need it. Because right now with the Drake community, well, you know, they feel like they got something and they feel
they don't have nothing. They don't have nothing, bro. Don't even worry about them. They ain't nothing to worry about in the first place because they're just making him look worse each and every day. You should have seen how I took down somebody in Discord. If you want to join my Discord, I'll leave it in the description. But I took somebody down in another server. I'm not going to say which one, but just know, don't argue with me. I'll make you regret it.
feel like they are energized by the weird celebration that they have called Drake's birthday, which, for a 40-year-old man almost, the way Drake and his stan base didn't just celebrate another year around for Drake, like, a regular person would, and just have fun and honor the day, I guess, and do whatever you like. Well, for these loser crash out stands, I guess what they do like is acting embarrassing, acting like they are always right and everybody's always wrong, and that the whole thing was set up against their favorite cupcake. Well, within that, they spend a lot more time spiting and dissing everybody than, just enjoying the moment of the actual birthday. And what I am talking about, well, it's not just a Drake fan thing, but it really does start with Drake, because now with Drake's birthday celebration, which what he had to do, he had to use this as some sort of a PR stunt to try and gain anything positive back. Well, Drake immediately, to celebrate his birthday, sent a message out to everybody. Well, that the only thing that's going to change in year 39 is that things are going to get more insane. And well, if you step out or draw any sort of a line against the Owls, Drake is not playing around right now. He is going to diss you. He is going to make everything terrible. And he is going to really show you.
That's really not much of a threat. You got bodied. No one's taking you seriously. No one's taking. Look at your face. You still making these damn duck lips. The very first time I shot me a Drake, the homie had told me to aim it this way. A Drake is another name for a duck. What is this man?
What the wrath of a Karen really is. And really now what Drake said here, well, in a false moment of confidence, it read, "Foul vowels for anybody trying the Owls. One more year, Pondum." And just with this and with Drake's little cringe celebration, he's trying to act all cool. He's trying to show off everything that he's winning with. But at the end of the day, Drake is still just trying to diss people and trying to act tough, because he really can't escape the fact that he has just become the token loser of hip hop. Well, with that, we are really cooked. But now where things get crazy for Drake and where he tried to make this birthday a real moment where I guess he wanted to show off how he is one of the biggest stars on the planet, but only ended up looking like one of the biggest losers, was Drake deciding to go out on his birthday and make a public appearance at the Los Angeles Dodgers versus the Toronto Blue Jays World Series Game 1 in the Rogers Center in Toronto, which now, if we remember, if we just do a little history lesson, this is where Kendrick Lamar became the first rapper ever to play within the Blue Jays Stadium this summer. And
you lost in almost every aspect of a battle. You got a man that's sitting there selling out a stadium in your town, in your hometown, your city, and you haven't been there? Is what it is.
He played back-to-back nights, got a huge honor.
But you brought him on tour, right? Now he over here doing tours in your hometown, man. Get out of here.
Encore after Not Like Us both times, and he really just humiliated Drake within his own city within a way that I don't think we ever expected in some capacity. And in addition to that, while Drake runs away and hangs out in arenas because he is scared to do stadiums because I guess he thinks he's not big enough, The Weeknd and Playboi Carti also hit the Rogers Center as well, where they played a really great show. And so with Drake going to the Rogers Center, with, him hanging out in the stands, it really does feel on brand because, he's a fan, he's a fan, he's a fan, and he definitely does not have the actual courage and ability to play in the venue as a performer and an artist. Well, with Drake coming here and with the Blue Jays organization embracing him to some extent, as they did put him on the Jumbotron as one of their special celebrities of the game that they were trying to make everything all fun with. Well, what we do know now is that when it comes to Drake not playing in stadiums and not going to the Rogers Center ever specifically, one of the conversations that we were having back when Kendrick did it and Drake didn't, and there was this whole debate around who is bigger, why Drake can't play in these stadiums, and just everything around Drake's failures of performances. Well, one of the narratives that was being put out,
it's not really a conversation. Drake is the bigger artist only because his sound reaches globally. Of course, you're played in supermarkets, grocery stores, you're played in the radio every day, you're played everywhere. Like, I get it. Drake, you're a top tier pop star, but you used rapping in order to elevate your career. but you are not a bar for bar spitter. You can't sit in a room full of MCs and out rap them. You can't. You can barely do it on your Blackberry. Ever since that Blackberry, I was like, yo, I can't take this dude seriously. He can't even spit off the dome. Why? He can't even spit a hot 16 for me, and not even an 8, and be taken seriously. That's not, it's something that you have to do when it comes down to being someone in talks for being the greatest rapper or somebody who can rap. You got to be able to do that off the dome, no assistance, just raw. You go, and you leave everything on fire.
Out and utilized by the Drake stands, and that was even speculated by myself to some extent. Well, what's this idea that maybe, since the Rogers Center seemingly chose Kendrick Lamar's side by not just getting him to play in their venue, but even the Blue Jays were hyping him up and they were really making it a big deal that the Grand National Tour was coming to the show, maybe there was some sort of beef or friction between Drake and the ownership of the venue. And as Drake is good friends with the Toronto Raptors organization over in the NBA, maybe, and just maybe, if you wanted to give the cupcake the benefit of the doubt, you could say that is why he wasn't doing the stadiums. But now as Drake came here, he was all happy and he was showing how much of a Blue Jays fanatic he really is. We know that that's all a lie. And for Drake, you just can't play in stadiums, which honestly is very funny. And when you see the way that this crowd reacted to Drake being,
especially after the beef, a lot of people jump ship. If you have weird behavior, you got people that grew up, that had kids, that we're not kids no more. We have kids. And for you to have weird behavior, put on rap because you couldn't keep another man's wife's name out of your mouth and their kids? Come on, dog. Like, you don't have principles. You don't have the heart of what hip hop emanates. Hip hop is the experience of being an African American in day and age throughout the timeline, from all the way from bluegrass and the blues, from R&B, from soul music, came hip hop, jazz. But you understanding that you are half white and half black, you thought that you would be able to come in here and mesh those ideas together. No, this is the Negro American experience being told through so many ways of expression. And for you thinking that you'd be able to go against somebody who is proficient at it enough to have a Pulitzer underneath their belt, you're washed, bro. Like, get out of here, man. Like, there's no reason for you to be this corny after. You should have just kept to the music. No, you wanted to go ahead and sue. You wanted to do anything and everything to dissuade the attention away from Kendrick and put it onto you. Kendrick didn't need you in the beginning. He don't need you now. You just got in his way. And you thought you were bigger than him in a hip hop sense. You are not. You're a pop star, sir.
being on the actual Jumbotron and being at the game, you see why Drake both can't play in stadiums and why he's been kind of running away from his own city as a whole right now. Because really, for Drake, who is supposed to be the king of the music scene, the face of the city, and as he would say, the face of the league, to be at an event like this, which it's literally the pinnacle of your city's sporting events, as your team made it to the championship, and well, you go on the screen and you see the reaction that you got, which if you really listen, there is almost little to no cheering, there's a little bit of booing, but in general, there's just a lot of silence. I mean, wow, this is bad, and this is some of the most just disdain and honestly, lack of care that I have ever seen at a sports game for a star of any level, and this is Drake at the end of the day, because to be honest, at games I've been to, whether it's the Yankees or the Knicks,
I'm just wondering what that crowd sound like. They probably were just like, Okay, do we stop? Stop. Stop.
If they throw the extra from Stranger Things, Bobby Bacala from The Sopranos, or I was at the Yankee game recently and Flavor Flav was on the screen, and half of the people don't even really know who he is anymore, still, the fans go absolutely insane just because they know it's somebody that they should be cheering for and everybody's having a good time. And so for Drake to just have this quiet of an applause at the World Series, man, I don't know how we have gotten to this point. That really in Drake.
That reminded me of that SpongeBob episode where SpongeBob was sitting there cleaning up at the talent show, and everybody was like, "Oh yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good." Yeah. And then Squidward pops out, and then everybody just gets quiet. That's messed up. In your own city, go sit down somewhere.
Drake's own city, they genuinely have turned on him, and they genuinely don't like him the way that you would think. But, you know, despite the Blue Jays showing that I guess they are cordial with Drake and everything that could mean, things did get worse for Drake's crash out birthday celebration. As you know now, while trying to act cool within the World Series and like you are really the man and like you run your city, you were consistently proven and taught throughout the entire thing that this is the very opposite of what you're doing, and this is the very opposite of how everyone from top to bottom is treating you. And now this is because to bring in Game 1 of the World Series, which did happen in Toronto, well, the Blue Jays and the MLB decided to not use Drake or anything resembling his brand or image to really promote and bring in the biggest series in sports right now in terms of just where all the leagues are at and who's playing in the championship. And what they did is decided to call on two people, which now first what the Blue Jays did was not team up with Drake and OVO for a special merch drop or to celebrate anything for the World Series, but they teamed up with the guy who just shut down the Rogers Center and who is from the Six in none other than The Weeknd. And just with this, seeing Drake show off his Blue Jays chain, seeing him try to be a fan, which honestly, I don't ever remember hearing Drake talk about baseball.
Just chasing. He's still chasing for some sort of attention. Like, bro, we caught you in 4K not too long ago, maybe a month. You were exiting that hotel and you had a short fro. Why do you got braids again? That's pissing me off. Come on, man. We all know that that's the man. He over here pulling a Steve Harvey on us.
Until now, and just seeing him.
That short ass afro that he had does not produce that amount of hang time. And that's not a lot. But it was a short fro. It wasn't even longer than what I got right now.
Do all of these other cringe and ridiculous antics to try and act like he is a part of the team. Well, now to see everything just go to The Weeknd and then pretty much link up with him.
And The Weeknd deserves it. After everything that Drake put him through, after take care from this man. No. And I think that Take Care was one of his Diamond albums. He took 6-7 songs from The Weeknd and made them his on Take Care. I used to love listening to Take Care. I was like, man, this is definitely a solid project. But then I realized it wasn't really much of his lane. Drake don't have no sound. He just takes from all these other people who are hot at the moment. But look at The Weeknd. The Weeknd has been consistent. He's been on top of the game, and he's been doing stadiums long before Kendrick or Drake. And Drake has never, but long before stadiums even occurred to them.
Him and release XO merch to celebrate and just bring in such a huge moment in sports. Well, it's honestly funny just to see where their beef is at and see how The Weeknd once again has managed to take a win over Drake, even when he's not trying and while Drake is cheering in the stands like it's that Taylor Swift song or something, I don't know. But now making things even worse, you could say Drake didn't just have to see one of his biggest rivals get the real love from the team that he was trying to act like a fan of. Well, while he was running around in the stadium trying to look cool, but he was really only looking like a crash out. But also, when Drake got to that stadium and he had to look at center field, he had to watch one of his biggest rivals and really maybe the figure that got him within the most trouble ever since he started to act way tougher than he ever actually is, will just perform an amazing pregame show in none other than Pharrell Williams and his choir, who he works with a lot and who he has really developed into some of the best performers and most dependable and professional names in the entire music sphere. in the Voices of Fire, who were featured on the Clips intro Birds Don't Sing. If you don't know, they were at the Vatican show that Pharrell and Clips were at, which they did amazing for the entire performance. And well, now they're at the World Series, and with Pharrell and his choir just absolutely going insane to start off these games, and you know, Drake was sitting on the field watching Pharrell just be one of the most.
Seriously, somebody in the comments tell me where this damn animation came from, because it looks like a robot chicken skit. I'm tired of it already. I don't want to see it no more. But Pharrell, one of the greatest producers in hip hop of all time. Sorry, he's top 5. He's definitely top 5. He's one of my favorites, if not number 1.
Most professional, disciplined, creative, and sound people that the music industry has to offer. Well, listen, no matter what you want to say, for Drake to just have to watch his rivals have this much fun doing what they love and being embraced by the very things he was trying to look cool at, you know that's got to feel away. And especially when you see the way Pharrell was getting cheers, the Blue Jay fans got the Weeknd merch.
Nah, because that damn Nokia video, that Nokia video, why? Why did he have short hair? And then not even a week or 2 later, he got hang time braids. Somebody please make this make sense. I know that I watched a video not too long ago. I think it was Big Zo. It could have been Quality, HHSB Crew, Big Kish. I follow all these guys. I make sure I sub to them because these guys are like inspirations to me. They made me want to do this. I've watched a video, and this video was showing the time span of when Drake had short hair and how long it took for him to have braids again with hang time. It takes a little while. It takes a process. Like, maybe if your hair grows very well, if it's taken care of, if it's nourished, it could be about 6 months after you cut off your braids to have those same braids, if it's well maintained. How is it that he went that fast from short to hang time? It don't make sense unless it's fake.
But yet all we heard for Drake was disdain and apathy when he was put on that Jumbotron. Because really, I have never seen a high-profile name just have less enthusiasm by a crowd than what went down right here. Well, overall, this is just genuinely surreal. And if you need any more proof that this Drake fall-off really worked, and that his own city really does have issues with him, and that even the powers within that city, like these organizations and like the MLB and like the Blue Jays, well, for them to go with people like Pharrell and The Weeknd and, you know, never even think of Drake's name, that also speaks volumes. And I know there is a Drake stan who is going to sit here and try to tell me that Drake's too big to do events like these, or he's too cool, so he would never open up for the World Series. Just like with Drake not doing the Super Bowl because he's quote unquote too big, or he felt like he was too good for it. That's not a flex, and it just shows that you're a loser who really only does things for the most superficial and shallow reasons, because
you would never see anyone from 2007 and behind, from past 2007, no one would act this way. No one would act this way. Only him. He's making a mockery of himself. Hip hop is not only a sport, but it is a culture. It is the voice of an experience. And for him to be acting this way, like a spoiled brat, throwing this almost 2-year-long tantrum, it's just disrespectful at this point. You can't call yourself a rapper. You can't call yourself a hip hop artist. You're just a pop star. And there's nothing wrong with that. But just know your lane. Don't come back over here. You don't belong here. You don't have the cajole to be here.
You know, when your city is playing it, if you had the opportunity to take the field and really hype them up and just galvanize around your community before one of the biggest moments in their franchises, and I guess you could say for the city and their sports lineage, just entire story as a whole, for you to act like you're better than this or you couldn't take the field because whatever, maybe your booking fee is too high or whatever other weird reason you want to put, that is just lame. And honestly, to me, it's what's wrong with everybody in art and media today who is in this thing for the wrong reasons. Because, you know, for a lot of these grifters like Drake, there is just no such thing as glory for love of the game and just for doing things for the purpose of doing them because it means something to you. Which, like, you know, when Kanye West performed at halftime during the playoff game of the Bulls and Cavs series in 2015 in Chicago, I mean, Kanye was arguably the biggest artist on the planet at the time. You think he was doing it for any of the superficial and dull reasons of why Drake says he can't perform anywhere? Which the answer is obviously no. He was doing it for the love of his city, the love of his team, and the love of culture to unite your passion and your ethos with the sport that you are clearly cheering on and rooting for. And so again, to see Pharrell get on this stage and to see The Weeknd be a part of something and then to see whatever excuses Drake is going to lose when things go wrong, and you know, he is seeing the city turn on him whether he wants to acknowledge it or not. Well, this is all just showing that things are changing and Drake is breaking. And at this point, as you've been dissed by your own city the way you have, I think we're just going to have to sit here and wait to see what really happens with all of that. So yeah, that's all I got today. Let me know your thoughts on Drake trying to celebrate.
And make sure y'all go over to Fantastic Hip Hop's page. Make sure you hit them with a like, subscribe, or a comment, because support is free. Sorry about that, I got a little dry. But when it comes down to it, my personal take is that Drake is acting in a way that I would expect Taylor Swift or a pop star to react. The way that Young Money has been reacting this whole year, him, Nicki, Wayne, Entitled, Bratty, just, these are just tantrums. You don't run the game no more. Y'all paved the way for the people that are running it right now. And the people that are running it right now are falling off because they've been selling the same trash music. And we got a taste of something that we've been missing for the last 10 years as hip hop enthusiasts, as listeners. I'm not like your casual listener. I'm going to listen to anyone that comes my way. If y'all have suggestions, go ahead and throw them in the comment section. I'll react to the music. But when it comes down to it, they don't run the game no more. They don't have the power that they used to over the masses. And with Drake, his character being compromised with all of the very convincing allegations that Kendrick put against him, it's hard to view you the same way I did before. It's weird. It's cringe. Why is your first music video you being a high school girls basketball coach and they're all running in slow motion and everything? Like, I know that the girls weren't high school girls in the music video, but you know, they got thighs jiggling, they got, you know, everything else, you know, moving, and it's in slow motion. Like, what? That's weird to me now. I have a daughter, you know, and I have a son, and I have to make sure that they both know to stay away from weird activity like that. So personally, that's just one of the many reasons as to why that your character, your image, your legacy has now been tarnished. And it's all because of your previous actions brought to light by a dude that you shouldn't have tried, an actual hip hop artist. Let me know what y'all think. Leave a like, subscribe, and keep that ace up your sleeve. All right, share with your homies. Just know that I'm always here. All right, y'all. I'm up out of here.